He's a very funny man. Make some noise for my friend Anish Shah, everybody.
The best part I love about stand-up is being done. No, it's I think obviously it's being on stage, and like the thing about being on stage is even when the show went really well, it's like it's a lot of 80 people in the audience. I'm sure a lot of you grew up doing dances, right? And not stereotyping, but you did. You know you did. And the thing is that sometimes you do a dance and everyone's like, oh my god, that was amazing, but you missed this step and you missed that step, and you were playing it over and over in your head, right? And stand-up is the same way. So you do a show and everyone's like, oh, this is super funny, dude, and I'm like, but I stumbled on this line, I did this. And so my favorite part of the show is the 1 in 10 shows where I agree that it went well. Otherwise, I would say being on stage is the 20% that's fun. Even that 20%, 80% of the time, they're like, oh, I can't believe it, damn it. I knew that joke was going to hit and it didn't. I'll tell you which one it was on this show. It was Whataburger. I researched that shit, I wrote it and practiced it in my hotel room, and you guys left me to die on Whataburger. It's interesting. I think a lot of people that do stand-up comedy or do any of these artistic things, they view it as it's their be-all, end-all, right? And I think the reason I have these opinions on, you should have more than one passion is that for me, that isn't the case. I love stand-up comedy. I absolutely love it, and I will always do it in some capacity. But to me, it's a part of a broader book. And so when I got to the end of that first or second year, I felt like the stand-up comedy chapter wasn't done. It may never be done. It may just be a smaller or thicker part of the book. Right now it's 100% of the book for the last 7 years, right? But to me, I got to that 2-year point, and I was like, do I have the story that I wanted? And I kind of think of my life as that. I want to end my life with great stories. And I just didn't feel like that story was finished yet. Yeah.
What tips do you have for getting into the LMBA?
This question was, what tips do you have for getting into Yale for your MBA? So I'll tell you, this is pretty crazy, but my undergraduate GPA was exceptionally low for a Yale MBA. You want to take a guess what my undergraduate GPA was? 3.0? 2.4. 2.4. And I was pretty young. I was 24 when I went to go get my MBA. The reason I got in relates to what I would say you should do to excel in anything. And the reason I got in was that I started a company when I was in college. When I was 19, I started a company called Discount Savers Group. And over the next couple of years, I grew it to about 30 full and part-time employees. And it was a really fun business to run, and it was relatively successful for a student-run business, and paid the bills, and I was able to do all that stuff. And so I had a great story to tell. And if anyone would let me into an interview, I could tell that story, right? And so that's kind of fits with the theme of what I'm saying is just people will forgive anything if you can go in and prove that you're a motivated, interesting person. The other example of this that I would give is I get better job offers now than I did before I went into stand-up comedy. When I was just, the same level of business experience. But I get better offers now because I get better interviews now. And because people want to hear, occasionally if I see some interesting thing, I might submit a resume because like I said, I always keep sort of one leg in that world as well. I'll never go back full time, but I might be willing to do something on the side with a startup or something. So they see that the top of my resume says that I've spent the last 7 years doing stand-up comedy after this, pretty successful business career. And if nothing else, the guy's willing to invest 30 minutes to hear the story because he thinks I'll be entertaining. right? And then I go in and I tell the story, and then I have the interview to prove myself, and then nothing else matters after that, right? So I had a good story. I think that's 80% of the battle. Yeah.
Do you get nervous before a show?
Do I get nervous? Yeah, I mean, I'm sure half of you saw me like just pacing back and forth outside, like this weird uncle in a suit, just walking always, right? Yeah, I do. I get nervous before the good ones, right? If it's not a great show, I don't really care, but the ones where I actually care about the outcome, I definitely get nervous, but that nervous just leads to like an insane level of prep. All right, one more question. Yeah.
Are you married to an Indian?
Am I married to an Indian? I am married to an Indian, yeah. All right. Michael did not like your question. He's like, all right, one more question. Why do you ask if I'm married to an Indian? You're just kidding. Yeah, I mean, I dated everybody. Which one was